The Iron Throne is mine, by right. All those that deny that are my foes.
Game of Thrones did not really know what to do after they finished filming what was already written by Martin. Once that happened, everything went haywire, characters were being outrightly destroyed, take Dany for instance. But people often forget that what happened to Stannis is not from the book, you know, him killing Shireen and getting executed by Brienne. In reality, Martin's last book The Winds of Winter, still has Stannis stuck in the snow as he anticipates the looming battle against Ramsay Bolton. In fact, he orders Sir Justin Massey to Braavos to buy 20,000 sellswords. And should Massey hear about the death of Stannis in the battle, Massey should seat young Shireen on the throne. So you see, Stannis is more than you'd know, and some feel he is the one true king. In this video, we will explore every possible reason that proves that even though Stannis may not be the most honorable man, he's the best suited contender for the Iron Throne. And if you have other thoughts, feel free to share with me in the comments. Let's begin. He takes the threats beyond the wall seriously. Stannis has an earnest recognition of the imminent threat that lies beyond the wall. When the Night's Watch urgently needed reinforcements to combat an impending wildling invasion, Stannis Baratheon emerged as a steadfast ally. While the other contenders for power were preoccupied with personal affairs and petty disputes, Stannis responded to the call without a second thought because he knew that the War of the Five Kings was nothing compared to the Great War. The resulting clash saw Stannis' forces emerge victorious, rescuing the Night's Watch from the brink of devastation, and securing the safety of countless innocent lives residing south of the Wall, who would have otherwise faced a fate worse than death with a slain Night's Watch, and an unguarded wall. Furthermore, Stannis is the only contender for the Iron Throne who actually believes that White Walkers are more real than people think. He has the right claim to the throne.
Lord Stannis has the best claim to the throne. He is a proven battle commander, and he is utterly without mercy.
Daenerys' entire claim rests on the fact that Robert usurped the throne by foul means. But it was a rebellion, a war, and Robert won that war. So, he was the rightful king by all means. Now Robert is dead, and he is not the father of Cersei's children. Incestuous progeny can never have any right to the throne. This leaves Stannis as the rightful heir, as he is the eldest of Robert's brothers. Furthermore, Robert had made Stannis the Lord of Dragonstone, which was a seat that a king gave only to his heir. Stannis doesn't shy away from doing what needs to be done.
A good act does not wash out the bad, nor a bad the good.
Stannis Baratheon possesses a notable willingness to make difficult choices for the betterment of the realm, a trait that distinguishes him from most in Westeros, who are morally complex. While his association with shadowy assassinations and mystical alliances may raise eyebrows, it is important to note the intricate and multifaceted nature of the world in which he operates. And, there's much more to Stannis than the TV show, so we never know what happens next. Also, his commitment to fairness and justice is evident throughout his endeavors, but he's not foolishly righteous like Ned Stark. And if one would say that he's more soldier than ruler, well, he knows how to heed counsel and take the middle path that would be best for the prosperity of the realm. Plus, I don't think a battle-hardened commander won't make a good ruler. He's gonna show the Boltons that their rightful place.
I shall take back the north from the thieves who stole it. I shall mount Roose Bolton's head on a spike.
Stannis Baratheon is a beacon of hope for those who despise the Boltons, a family that has earned widespread animosity from fans. The Boltons live on fear and fear alone. They are able to rule because of their sadistic inclinations, including acts of rape and flaying, something they enjoy and brag about. Following his successful campaign against the wildlings, Stannis sets his sights on the reclamation of Winterfell from the clutches of the Boltons. This would restore justice and order in the north. However, Stannis' journey faces significant challenges. Caught in a massive snowstorm, his forces find themselves lacking provisions and running perilously low on options. The ultimate outcome remains uncertain, with the hope that Stannis can reach the gates of Winterfell and, in due course, hold Ramsay accountable for his transgressions by delivering some much-needed retribution. Stannis has the best hand of the king, Davos.
Loyal service means telling hard truths.
Davos Seaworth, a former smuggler, emerged as a trusted confidant and advisor to Stannis Baratheon. Stannis recognized Davos's unique qualities and appointed him as his hand, a very wise decision indeed, because a man like Davos, who rose from nothing, knows the exact value and importance of a position of considerable influence and authority. It's like that thing Spider-Man says about great power and great responsibility. Stannis sought a pragmatic and grounded individual who could provide him with honest counsel and hard truth and challenge his own perspectives without any personal agendas. Furthermore, Stannis is often seen as a man who is willing to accept and correct his mistakes, and a man like Davos could help him do so even when Stannis sits on the Iron Throne. Through their collaboration, Davos's principled nature aligned harmoniously with Stannis's aspiration to uphold justice, providing further cause for support in favor of Stannis's claim to the Iron Throne. He sees worth above birth. Stannis Baratheon's claim to the throne rests solely upon his birthright, but he's not someone who is bound by the notions of noble birth and common birth. He employs Davos and Melisandre into his service, and none of them are of noble birth. In fact, he doesn't quite differentiate between a noble-born and a commoner on the basis of their birth. If he thinks someone is worthy enough to hold a position or receive a punishment, Stannis does what needs to be done like the man of action he is. Direct temperament and personality.
They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them.
Stannis has the right mind to become the king of Westeros. He is not someone as rash as Joffrey, as young as Tommen, or as weak as Renly. Daenerys has never stepped foot in Westeros since her birth, and a woman who doesn't know her people cannot rule them. On the other hand, Stannis has been a man who knows his country better than most contenders. Stannis is a grammar Nazi.
And it's 4 less fingernails to clean.
Fewer.
Pardon?
4 fewer fingernails to clean.
A king needs to be understanding, just, fair, and level-headed, but it wouldn't hurt to have a king who has impeccable grammar and is a grammar Nazi as well. As we've seen a few times now, Stannis has a zero-tolerance policy for people who don't know how to talk. He would make Westeros a better place, one correction at a time. That was all in today's video. Please hit those buttons if you had a good time watching this. Have a good day.